Hi, Nicole here, and welcome to part one of my digital photography for beginners series. This is gonna be fun. First, congratulations on either receiving a new camera or finally taking that camera off the shelf and learning about photography and taking your photography skills to the next level. Now, I was in your shoes over 10 years ago. The summer of 2009, I received this Canon 50D and was so excited, but then instantly overwhelmed. And I wanted to create this 5-part series to help reduce that overwhelm and give you some good practical tips and tricks to get you off and running and unlock your potential. Okay, let's get started. Nicole here, and I am so excited to teach you tips and tricks I've learned along the way in photography school and as a professional photographer for the past 10 years. Here we go. So part one is practical life information. Now, I know it doesn't sound as exciting as creating amazing images, but having a good foundation on just practical life stuff, specifically how to protect your gear so you can prolong the life of your gear, and just being efficient, because if you're an efficient photographer, you'll want to have your camera gear with you. You can easily access the camera gear and you can practice your photography. Because if it's overwhelming, if it's too daunting to get all the stuff together, you're just simply probably not going to take the camera with you and you'll just rely on your phone. Okay, so that's why I thought part one, we'd start off with some great practical information to help you get you on your way. The first thing is when you have your camera and when you have your lens, I always travel with these two separated. I don't put the lens on and then throw it in my bag and go. Just in case something happens, I don't want the mechanism of how it's attached to break in any way, so I always travel with them separately. When I do travel and when I am at my location and ready to shoot, I will either have the camera on my lap, or if it's a good safe space on my bag, then I always have my camera stationary and secure. When I am ready to take the lens and attach it to the camera, I want this to be a quick transition. Why? Because once you unlock these two caps, the environment, all the particles and the dust can make their way into the sensor, and we don't want that. We want to protect our investment. So I remove the two pieces, I attach, I match up those red dots, and I'm ready to go. All right. So speaking of when you're getting ready to set up, if I'm inside, if I'm outside, and I have my camera, I'm taking that out, I always want my lens to be face down with the cap on, face down, and on a flat surface. You don't want to have it this direction because now it's top heavy and you don't want this to ever fall or break. Let's move on to the lens. All right, here's another great tip. All of my lenses have a clear filter on the front. Why? Because it's a lot less expensive to replace the clear filter than it is to replace this lens. And this will also help reduce scratches, moisture, dust getting onto that lens. Cleaning kits is the next area. When you get your camera for the first time and you have your great lens that you purchased, I always recommend having a cleaning kit. Before you go out on a shoot, you want to make sure your lens is nice and clean, because when you then download your images and you're seeing all these spots and you're wondering why, that could be on your lens. So that would, if you have it nice and clean, you don't have to then be into Photoshop trying to reduce spots and things that are on your lens. I always bring my cleaning kit with me because you never know when you're on location, things can happen and you're like, oh, a cleaning kit would be great. So I always have a miscellaneous bag with me with my cleaning kit, an extra battery, extra memory cards. It's always great to have. So in your camera bag, you will now have your camera body, your camera lens, and your miscellaneous bag. All right, let's talk about the camera bag. When you're starting out, you want a bag that kind of represents the amount of gear that you have. So if you just have a lens and a body and your miscellaneous bag, you really want a good bag to kind of just hold this gear. If you have a bag that has 10 different compartments, 4 lenses and cameras, it's not efficient or necessary. So you may have the bag that came with the camera, and this is great. It came with the lens and the body, and you have another section for miscellaneous items, great. But if I'm solo and as a female, I'm also always thinking of safety, and I don't want to kind of come across like, hey, I have all this camera gear. So what I have done is I've taken this bag and I have taken a tote that I already have. It's all open. And I have put this camera bag inside. And now I have room, if I'm with my child, I have room for all the miscellaneous snacks and clothes and all that stuff. But now I have a protective bag in a bag that's a common bag that someone may have. I also have a backpack that I use. And again, it's an open cavity bag, but I've adapted it for photography gear. So I have this think tank attachment. It's normally attached to a belt for event photography, but I put my camera body here and I have room for a lens or two, and again, for those miscellaneous items. Now this can be a backpack, or I can take this off and hide the backpack, and then it can just be a bag. So it's multi-purpose. I recommend start using your gear and seeing where you're gonna be photographing things the most. If you're traveling on airplanes, you need something that might be a hard body so it's more protective. If you're hiking, you might need more of a backpack with more padding. If you're just going local with your kids at a park, this type of bag might be good. So really get a sense of where you're going to be doing your photography, and that will help you go in the direction of the bag that you need to invest in. Okay, so with that, that's making you more efficient, because if you have a bag dedicated for the gear that you have now, you can see how you're using it. When you're ready to go grab your gear at your location, you can quickly access things and get going. The last thing I wanted to share was the camera strap. Now, if your camera strap is uncomfortable in any way, it's going to deter you to take that camera out, have it on you at all times to get that shot, because you don't want to miss that moment. So I have been using this camera strap for probably over 7 years, and it's a crossbody. I like that it attaches to the bottom of the camera. So I have a battery grip, which I love for efficiency. I'll show you how I use that. But you have the spot where a tripod would go. This is where the strap would go. And you can securely put this in. I take the extra security thing and I actually put tape around here because I would never want that to loosen up and then lose the camera. So it has that plastic piece here to kind of stop it in place. And then when I put this on, now this is when I'm going to be having this on for hours. I can now have it cross body and it hangs on the side. Then when I'm ready, I can grab the camera and then it drops to the side. So this has worked really well over the years. And the other thing, going back to security, the camera straps that come with your camera is also telling the world what camera you have on you. So you don't want to come across as having something very expensive for if you're out there traveling solo, for myself being a female, this is something that I'm always conscious of and thinking about. So those are my practical life tips for you to get you off and running. I hope this was so helpful for you. I've outlined everything below for your research. I always love a good handout, so I have a handout link for you as well with the practical life information on there just to think about. But hopefully this has given you some new tips and tricks to try to set you up for success. So thank you for being here. I'm so excited for part 2. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye.